Here is the CERN Hadron Collider in Geneva, the border of Switzerland and France. The large percentage of the collider is located in France side of the border. Here is the map of France megaliths of France deciphered. This map shows an astronomical overview of megalithic sites in France. So, right at the LHC area is deciphered as Pleiades. Alignment of funerary structures are their inhabitants with the rising sun all attest to the fact that funerary landmarkers were not placed according to purely scientific criteria, although they may also have been added to pre-existing landmarks. A number of rituals and traditions have been associated with the path taken by funerary parties. Traditionally, known as death roads. The fact that spirit paths are traditionally straight and seem to include the same markers as ley lines significantly increases the argument for some of the leys having once served this function. Spirit lines are also invisible and are viewed as tracks or paths for the movement of the spirits, which may explain why markers are often not visible. From one location to another, the fairy paths of the Irish also have folklore associated with them. There are numerous stories of houses being built over fairy lines, which is ley lines, and being destroyed or cursed. Stones, crosses, roads, bridges, and churches are all the same points on Watkins' list of landmarkers. Feng Shui Earth's magnetic field. Many important landmarkers are associated with springs and water sources. The duty of the practitioners of the art was to determine the flow of Longli or dragon currents. Every building, stone, and planted tree was so placed into the landscape as to conform to the dragon currents, which flowed along these lines. The main paths of the forces were believed to be determined by the routes of the Sun, Moon, and 5 major planets. We know that the Earth is encompassed within a magnetic field. The strength and direction of the magnetic currents vary according to the position of the Sun, Moon, and closer planets. The magnetic field is also affected. It is possible that this field may have been detected and mapped out in the past. Nordbergen reminds us that the Earth's natural magnetism was believed to have been used to refertilize the soil in the same way as the Aborigines did with their terrangs or dreamlines. He also mentions that there is scientific research that shows that water is extremely sensitive to electromagnetic fields and that as the fields are changed or influenced, so the chemistry of the water may be altered too. Horticulturists have discovered that plants placed within a magnetic field grow more than 6 times faster than in normal conditions. We are able to show today that the strength and direction of the Earth's magnetic currents vary according to the position of the Sun, Moon, and other planets. Astronomical alignments. The fact it took so long for us to realize the astronomy was in any way involved with megalithic culture is almost as surprising as the fact that it was ever forgotten. Although there has been a traditional resistance to this theory from the scientific establishment, we live in a time when it is finally accepted that many of the larger megalithic constructions were designed so as to be able to accurately identify celestial objects or measure their cycles. The clear link between megaliths And astronomy can also be said for megaliths and ley lines, as they are often found to be prime ley markers and intersections of several ley lines. One of the largest leys in England, the so-called St. Michael's Ley, is aligned along the path of the sun on the 8th of May, the spring festival of St. Michael, and can therefore be considered astronomical. This line passes through several megalithic sites before it reaches Glastonbury, artificially shaped to follow the direction of the lake, and then on to the Avebury-Salisbury complex, both significant English landscape features. The St. Michael's Ley has been shown to be interrelated with several other prominent British megaliths through geometry, astronomy, and an apparent knowledge of longitude and latitude, not least of all to Stonehenge. Stonehenge, whilst not being a part of the St. Michael's Ley, is connected with both Glastonbury and Avebury-Salisbury through geometry, and also forms the crossing point of several prominent ley lines, both astronomical and non-astronomical. The first astronomically significant ley line to pass through Stonehenge was first identified by Sir Norman Lockyer, and later extended to 22 miles in length. This ley follows the path of the midsummer sunrise on a bearing of 49.5 15. Another significant ley line to pass through Stonehenge was also identified by Lockyer and can be shown to extend accurately for 18.5 miles. It skirts only the edge of the hinge at the junction of the avenue, missing the center altogether. This line runs on a bearing of 170.5 45 and appears to have no astronomical significance. The alignments at Stonehenge therefore appear to offer a fusion of funerary, astronomical, and geometric practices, simultaneously connecting three of the most significant locations in southern England: Glastonbury, Stonehenge, and Salisbury, which all align to create a perfect right-angled triangle, accurate to within 1/1000 part. It is from this historic starting point that we can begin unraveling the complexity of prehistoric geometry of the British landscape. Geometric alignments. The previous examples have offered an indication that geometry might be involved in the orientation of some ley lines. It is arguable that as many of the sites are aligned astronomically, and as geometry is a natural product of astronomy, the effect might be a product of automatic or accidental geometry within the layout of certain sites, but this does not explain geometry between sites, which certainly involves surveying techniques, which in turn requires deliberate and applied mathematics. This extremely significant finding shows both that the early megalithic builders were aware of both astronomy and geometry and combined them deliberately into their constructions, at the same time as this reasonable astonishing revelation, we are able to see how many ley markers may have been introduced along pre-existing alignments, and it is important to know the origin of all the markers on ley in order to accurately determine its origin and purpose. Here are some examples of European ley lines. Please pause this video to read through this. Here I want to highlight this Apollo and St. Michael axis. Mont Saint-Michel is also associated with a larger St. Michael's line, proposed to run from Ireland to Jerusalem as the following map demonstrated. You can see the alignment is said to extend from Mount Carmel in Israel through Delos, Delphi, Corfu, Limonte Gargano in Italy, La Sacre de Saint-Michel in Piedmont, Le Mont Saint-Michel, Saint Michael's Mount, and Scarlet Michael. Here are a few examples of English layman's. Please feel free to pause this video to read through this. Gate 1, Mount Shasta. Gate 2, Lake Titicaca. Gate 3, the Ogus. Gate 4, Glastonbury and Shaftesbury. Gate 5 is a spinner wheel, Great Pyramid, Sphinx, and Mount Olives. And then Chakra 6, no fixed location, currently at Glastonbury and Shaftesbury. Then Gate 6 is Chakra 7, Mount Kalish. Gate 10, Spinner Wheel, Crater Maui. Gate 11, Spinner Wheel, Lake Taupo. Gate 12, Spinner Wheel, Table Mountain.